This is Delta 3 requesting backup at Unit 27. Operation in defensive area. I repeat. Delta 3 requesting backup at Unit 27.
There are reports coming in from the United States about strange unidentified organisms spreading around like wildfire that have reportedly already killed millions of people despite only having appeared just yesterday.
According to the United States National Guard, they have just recently launched an operation in which they used saturation bombing against the organisms all throughout the United States. They say that if the operation turns out successful, then they will send military task forces to eradicate any isolated organisms, and if it didn't, then they might have to take, quote, more desperate measures.
This message was transmitted at the request of the United States government. The nationwide saturation bombing operation has failed to eradicate the prowlers. However, a decent portion of the prowlers have appeared to have been successfully killed, as the number of prowlers throughout the United States has been reduced by 35 to 40% due to the temporary decrease of prowlers throughout the continental United States. The National Guard and its resources will temporarily be focused on evacuation efforts to take advantage of the reduced risk of prowler attacks. However, if you haven't already been evacuated, it is recommended that any survivors hearing this broadcast are to stay put in their shelters, continue following the previously given instructions, and wait for the National Guard to come and provide assistance. As a reminder, turn off any and all devices capable of emitting any light, heat, or sounds. Stay as quiet as you possibly can, and hide in the most interior room or lowest floor of a sturdy building, and wait for the National Guard to come and assist you. If a prowler breaks into your home or shelter, try your best to stay undetected. If one of the prowlers detect you, death is almost certain, as the prowlers cannot be taken down with any easily accessible conventional weaponry, such as most firearms, most bladed weapons, or machine-powered weapons such as chainsaws. Flamethrowers and other weapons that use heat seem to be the most effective weapons against prowlers. However, these kinds of weapons have only been effective in deterring or warding off the prowlers with only mid to low success, so avoiding any confrontations with prowlers is paramount. I repeat, avoidance of any confrontations with prowlers is paramount. This message was transmitted at the request of the United States government. The prowlers have infested all of Central and South America, with a few smaller countries in the continent already reporting to be nearing on the brink of collapse. In addition, reports from military forces have been coming in regarding physical changes in the prowlers. While the changes heavily vary in each individual, generally, these changes are presumed to have been developed as a countermeasure to military forces. as military forces are beginning to experience severe pushback from the prowlers. It is also presumed that these changes developed by the prowlers allow them access to regions outside of North and South America, as Navy forces from the U.S. and neighboring countries are spotting hordes of prowlers swimming or flying above the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, likely targeting the other continents. The United Nations will soon issue a warning to all countries across the globe to prepare for potential onslaughts of prowlers worldwide within the coming hours, due to the current circumstances regarding the changes the prowlers have undergone, posing a grave risk, as well as a general lack of progress in rescuing surviving citizens. Evacuation efforts throughout the continental United States will soon be stopped altogether to prevent any further unnecessary casualties. There are also reports coming in regarding strange lights appearing in skies all across the globe. However, it is currently unknown as to what is causing this, and investigations are being carried out to understand this abnormal activity. While evacuation efforts will soon cease, there will still be a few carried out in areas with fewer prowlers, so any survivors hearing this broadcast are recommended to stay put in their shelters, continue following the previously given instructions, and wait for the National Guard to come and provide assistance. As a reminder, turn off any and all devices capable of emitting any light, heat, or sounds. Stay as quiet as you possibly can, and hide in the most interior room or lowest floor of a sturdy building, and wait for the National Guard to come and assist you. If a prowler breaks into your home or shelter, try your best to stay undetected. If one of the prowlers detects you, death is almost certain, as the prowlers cannot be taken down with any easily accessible conventional weaponry, such as most firearms, most bladed weapons, or machine-powered weapons such as chainsaws. Flamethrowers and other weapons that use heat seem to be the most effective weapons against prowlers. However, these kinds of weapons have only been effective in deterring or warding off the prowlers with only mid to low success, so avoiding any confrontations with prowlers is paramount. I repeat, avoidance of any confrontations with prowlers is paramount.
Nigel Marvin, a time-traveling zoologist and a man who has had his fair share of close scrapes with dinosaurs. But the Earth has witnessed more terrible monsters than these. What Nigel is about to learn about prehistory is that no matter how bad things get on land, the one thing you should never ever do is...
This is an emergency broadcast from the BBC, being relayed to you by the Government of the United Kingdom. Please stand by and pay attention. This is an emergency broadcast from the BBC, being relayed to you by the Government of the United Kingdom. Please stand by and pay attention. This is an emergency broadcast from the BBC, being relayed to you by the Government of the United Kingdom. Please stand by and pay attention. The situation involving strange organisms, dubbed prowlers, attacking the United States and surrounding countries has severely escalated, reaching a point to where the United Nations has given a warning to all of Earth's countries to prepare for incoming prowler attacks, due to prowlers having begun spreading beyond North and South America, and likely heading for the other continents. Other nations all across the globe are already preparing to face the incoming onslaughts of prowlers with stationed military forces across all coasts and borders, including the United Kingdom. However, despite these preparations, evacuation efforts will be carried out by the Army Reserve to evacuate citizens in or near coastal areas to minimize potential deaths. Once you have received assistance from the Army Reserve, tie a piece of white clothing around your mailbox or any place outside your residence before evacuating to show you have been assisted. In addition to the incoming prowler attacks, there are reports of strange lights appearing in the sky all across Earth. It is unknown as to what is causing this, but investigations are being carried out to figure out the cause of this strange activity. That is all the information we currently have at the moment. This emergency broadcast will stay to keep you informed and updated if the situation further escalates.
This message was transmitted at the request of the United States government. Reports from military forces have began coming in regarding more changes being cited in the prowlers. With the most notable change being size, the prowlers have reportedly changed from being an average height of between 6 to 12 feet tall to an average size of between 50 to 65 feet tall. In addition, military forces from North and South America have been severely exhausted and are beginning to experience severe pushback from the prowlers, as well as more smaller countries, and their governments having been reported to have collapsed, and the usage of nuclear weapons is currently undergoing consideration. Evacuation efforts in the continental United States have now been completely stopped. If you weren't assisted by the National Guard, it is now suggested you resort to suicide. The most effective method of suicide is taking a firearm of any kind, aiming the muzzle at the roof of your mouth, and pulling the...
The situation involving the strange organisms, dubbed prowlers, has further escalated. Prowlers are now reported to be larger than previously recorded, having changed to be an average size of between 50 to 65 feet tall, to an average of 100 to 130 feet tall, further increasing resistance to military forces, and causing a complete pushback from the prowlers, resulting in half of Europe, most of Africa, some of Asia, and all of Oceania having been overthrown and collapsed within the past few hours. Due to these circumstances, the use of nuclear weapons is currently under heavy consideration. In addition, evacuation efforts have now ceased operations. If you have not been evacuated by the Army Reserve, then we deeply apologize. Your best course of action now would be to find a fallout shelter, or commit.
Mr. President, it all comes down to this decision.
I don't know what to do. I'm president and all, but aside from my position of power, what makes me different from any other man on this planet?
Well, with all due respect, and with sincere honesty, nothing. At least in the grand scheme of things, considering our current circumstances.
I want to give all of those innocent people out there, those suffering, amidst this chaos, a fighting chance. But both pathways deny them that. I really don't know what to do.
Mr. President, as much as it pains you and me to say this, we must leave those out there to fight for themselves, to preserve humanity and everything we have ever done. While I am not in your position, I will give you this. Allowing those monsters to remain alive will mean that we won't survive to pick up the pieces and start from scratch. And, well, sacrifices must be made.
Look, you're right. You're right. I'll write that. I'll give them the order to proceed. May God bless us all.
This message was transmitted at the request of the United States government. The operation involving the bombardment of nuclear weapons against the Prowlers has failed. The Prowlers have grown to be resistant towards any kind of man-made weapons and can no longer be killed. In addition, a Christian organization called the Assemblies of God has just revealed disturbing information explaining everything that has happened regarding this situation. George Simmons, the General Treasurer for the General Council of the Assemblies of God, will soon make a public statement regarding this matter. Please stand by.
Hello. My name is George Simmons. I'm the General Treasurer for the General Council of the Assemblies of God. If it wasn't obvious already, our organization revolves mainly around Christianity, to put it broadly. To the average, everyday person, what is currently happening suddenly arose from out of nowhere, and nothing seems to connect or make sense, whether it be the Prowlers, or the lights in the sky, or the strange TV hijacks and messages. But, as horrific, surreal, and mysterious as this situation seems to be, we can say with 100% certainty that we know exactly what is happening. All of you hearing this will most likely be shocked at how immense the scale of the situation truly is. We at the Assemblies of God believe that what is happening right now is the event prophesied long, long ago to happen, known to all of those of the Christian faith as the rapture. Now, if you're Christian, you may be very shocked by our claim, as what you have seen the past day or so might not have been at all what you have thought what the rapture would have looked like. But we are indeed telling the truth. After seeing everything that has unfolded, we have made a horrific discovery. To put it in the most simple way I can, God has lied to us about everything humanity thought it has ever known regarding Christianity. There is no heaven, there is no hell, and there is no God. God was a lie made up by some unknown power that has been manipulating us since the dawn of man, manipulating us into thinking that He was our Lord and Savior, someone to follow, to cherish, to relish, to praise, and to worship. However, all of our prayers, our love, our commitment, All of that has instead been feeding whatever this thing is with power. We have been unintentionally making it stronger, and now we are seeing its true intentions being put into action. And the worst part about this, we can't do anything about it. Even if we somehow take down the Prowlers, I sense something much more horrifying than the lights up in the skies. The Prowlers are but pawns to whatever may be waiting above the clouds. Humanity is helpless. As much as I hate to say it, we're all doomed. There's nothing we can do now. It is only a matter of time before we all cease to exist and become one with it. My suggestion now, say goodbye to all of your loved ones and follow my lead.
This is Mitchell Harrison. I am, or more appropriately, I was your president. If you're watching this, I'm deeply sorry that I have failed you all. Though ultimately I was not in control of what was happening, I don't know if humanity will make it through this. While it's not impossible, our current circumstances show that the odds of our survival are astronomically small. It was nice leading such a beautiful country with beautiful people. This is Mitchell Harrison, signing out.
This message was transmitted at the request of the United States government. Nearly all countries on Earth and their military forces have collapsed. Most evacuation centers have been breached. There is nowhere to hide. It has become nearly impossible to survive in these circumstances. The extinction of the human race is certain. I repeat, the extinction of the human race is certain. Any surviving people are recommended to resort to suicide. The most effective method of suicide is by putting the muzzle of a loaded firearm on the roof of your mouth and pulling the trigger. We will cease transmission with the final playing of our national anthem. Thank you everyone for being a part of a great nation.
Do not be afraid. My subjects have arrived. They are here to take you back home. Say your final goodbye.